So you moved to Denmark. You start going to school there. I'm guessing there's probably a culture shock. You said Denmark was a lot different from Poland.
Mm.
What was that like?
Bro, like, oh man, I don't know how I can possibly explain it to you because you have not seen Poland in the early 2000s. It's like, oh, bro, how can, let me think how I can explain it to you. So imagine that you grow up and you've been in a shithole of a country. All the buildings look dirty. There's drunks. There's not opportunities. It's just a bad environment. And then you come to a country where, like, wow, everything is clean. There's bicycles. People are so friendly and so soft. It's like a huge culture shock, you know?
How were you socially? Because I know as an only child, not having brothers and sisters, and I'm an only child too, and I was kind of
Yeah,
awkward when I went to school, because I wasn't used to being around these other kids.
yeah.
Uh, how were you like? Did you have a lot of? Were you around a lot of other kids growing up, or were you the only one until you got into school? And how were you socially with the other children?
I don't really understand the question.
What I mean is like, so when you're an only child, you don't have those other kids around to socialize with. You're only used to being like a child around adults in a subservient role. So then when you're alone with other kids, they're like maybe picking on you or fucking with you or something like that. And you have no experience with that. So, like for me, they're used to being fucked with by their brothers and sisters. So I go to school, they start fucking with me. I mean, this is the first time in my fucking life this has ever happened to me. I kind of like close in. I was
Yeah.
wondering how you were. Being an only child, did that have an effect on how you were shaped?
Um, a little bit, a little bit. I always felt the way it shaped me was because all these other kids, they were like, I have a brother, I have a sister, whatever. So it kind of made me feel like, hey, why don't I have that, you know? But it's not like they bullied me or made me feel like I'm less than. But me myself, I felt like, why am I only child? Why don't I have a brother? Why don't I have a sister? They have they have what I wish I had, but I can't have it. That's kind of how I felt.
You're in elementary school. Um,
Yeah.
what are you like? Are you just like an average kid? Like me, I was fat, so that was one of my quirks.
Um in elementary school, I would say that I was not average because I have this thing that I would not talk to adults. And I would not talk Danish. I would only talk English. So when a teacher told me something in Danish, I would just look at her. I would not
Yeah.
reply. So I got labeled as the mute kid, the guy who's mute. He doesn't talk to adults. But I talked to children that were my age, but I didn't want to talk to adults because I felt like if I don't talk to these adults, maybe we will go back to Poland. So I would say that definitely not. I definitely was not a normal kid in elementary school. I was a mute. I did not talk to the teachers at all, you know?
Did you understand the language?
Yes, yes, I did. Yeah,
So education wise, you were getting your education. You just weren't. You were just kind of a mute.
yeah. I was a mute. Yeah,